It has been 4 months since the students of Class 1A and a few faculty members crash-landed in the Savage Lands. They were originally on their way there for a training exercise so they could unlock the hidden potential within their quirks and hopefully gain the upper hand in their ongoing battle with All for One. Deku was the most excited about this trip when All Might presented it to the class. In All Might's younger years, he loved visiting the Savage Lands because he wouldn't need to hold back his superhuman strength against the inhabitants. It wasn't until their plane was attacked by a pterodactyl that Deku understood who All Might was referring to. The Savage Lands is the land that time forgot. The Savage Lands are located in Antarctica. The Savage Lands are nestled in the Eternity Mountain range shrouded by billowing clouds. Mysterious devices were used to create subtropical climates in the frozen wasteland. This made it the perfect place to keep away from the peering eyes of the media and to avoid All for One and the League of Villains. The Class 1A students have had to learn how to survive without the comfort and technology they were used to. Some students adapted pretty easily like Shoto Todoroki, Katsuki Bakugo, and Izuku Midoriya, while others struggled for a time like Minoru Mineta, Yuga Aoyama, and Tenya Ida. Class 1A's teacher, Shota Aizawa, the erasure hero Eraserhead, began their first week of training by helping the students master their fears of the dinosaur inhabitants. Aizawa took control of a Tyrannosaurus Rex with nothing more than his intensity and Habakubuki. The capturing weapon is a cloth-like equipment made from carbon fibers and a special metal alloy. Aizawa wears it around his neck at all times and is able to manipulate the weapon to ensnare his targets and immobilize them. This includes dinosaurs. By the second week of training, the students took control of their fears and simultaneously increased their individual stamina and endurance when they were being chased by Aizawa's pet. Students who were normally seen as lower-rank fighters really shined in the Savage Lands. Koji Koda, known as the petting hero Anima, used his quirk, Ani-Voice, to communicate with the prehistoric creatures. On more than one occasion, his ability proved useful in helping the class find food and water. The longer the students stayed in the Savage Lands, the more ferocious-looking Koda became. The horns that adorned his head became larger and sharper. He even told the class that his quirk may have awoken because he swore he was able to communicate with the Triceratops telepathically with his thoughts and feelings. Mezo Shoji, the tentacle hero, Tentacle, was also one of the Class 1A members whose personality and confidence grew in the passing weeks. Shoji's quirk, Dupla Arms, is perfect for both combat and sensory purposes. Shoji is able to create extra arms or tentacles that he can use for various purposes. He can transform the tips of the tentacles to replicate other parts of his body, like his mouth, ears, and eyes. The duplicated body parts are more efficient than the originals. As a result, Shoji is able to hear better, see through more angles at a time, and they grant him much higher degrees of strength. During these weeks in the Savage Land, Shoji learned to maintain the additional tentacles for longer periods of time, grow more limbs quickly, form wings to aid in gliding as he jumps from tree to tree or rock to rock. Shoji has also leveled up his skills in using melee weapons, his favorite being a small sword and a stone axe. Tsuyu Asui, the rainy season hero, Froppy, felt right at home when first arriving in the Savage Lands. Her frog quirk provides her not only with a frog's physiology, but also allows her to do anything a frog can. Asui has enhanced swimming abilities, can hop long distances, can extend her tongue up to 20 meters, can stick to walls, and even camouflage herself. By the end of the third week, Asui became capable of using a spear she fashioned from a tree branch and stone. She was strong enough to handle herself against a velociraptor. Asui found the velociraptor walking in the open and decided to sneak attack it from above in hopes of providing her classmates with some meat. She threw her spear at the velociraptor and managed to wound it, and enrage it at the same time. The velociraptor chased down Asui at 50 miles per hour with the spear on its back, and managed to corner her. Asui smiled and produced a mucus that induced paralysis to the velociraptor. Asui removed the stone spear from the velociraptor's back, and swiftly put the velociraptor down. Izuku Midoriya was coming back to camp from some late-night training when he overheard two familiar voices in a hushed conversation. He tiptoed behind a tree to get a closer look. It was All Might and Aizawa discussing their current situation. All Might said that once the plane had gone down, an emergency signal should have been sent out to UA High School, and Principal Nezu should have sent in a rescue party to get them. Aizawa agreed and suggested that their signal was somehow blocked or intercepted by another party. Midoriya grew uneasy, letting the thoughts linger in his mind. He quietly snuck away and headed back to the sleeping grounds. In the morning, Midoriya took a walk to the waterfall with Ochako Uraka, hero name Uravity, to discuss what he had overheard last night. Uraraka took the information and told Midoriya not to worry. They have Aizawa, Todoroki, Bakugo, and him to help look after everyone in case anything bad were to happen. This put Midoriya at ease, and the two continued their walk to the waterfall. Midoriya was always nervous to share his true feelings with Uraraka, but something about the Savage Lands provided him with confidence. Since being here, the two of them had trained hard and supported each other's growths. Uraraka learned more tactical skills from hand-to-hand combat to sword skills. She was able to get Momo Yaoyorozu to help her create a perfectly balanced sword for her to use. Uraraka also trained her quirk so she could float longer and float heavier objects for longer periods of time. As Midoriya was about to confess his feelings to Uraraka, the two of them were ambushed by Himiko Toga, Dabi, and Twice. Dabi launched several flaming attacks that separated Midoriya from Uraraka. Midoriya was surrounded by several copies of Twice. As he smashed through several of the clones, he lost sight of the original. The original Twice came up behind Midoriya and injected him with something that knocked him out cold. Uraraka, fighting against Toga, witnessed Twice hauling off Midoriya into the forest. Enraged, Uraraka went for her sword and began swinging at Toga. Whenever she came close to injuring Toga, Dabi would shoot a ball of blue fire at her. Dabi and Toga were playing with her. The real target was Midoriya, and they were just buying Twice enough time to get him away. Although Uraraka was panicking inside, she never showed it on the outside. She was doing everything in her power to fight Toga, while also avoiding the barrage of fire heading her way. With all the rubble and debris around her, it was making it difficult for her to move around to avoid the quick attacks from Toga. Uraraka managed to float some debris and let them fall towards Toga, but Dabi was there to protect her. This 2-against-1 situation was looking dire for Uraraka. The longer she was fighting these two, the further away Deku was getting. The frustration sunk in, and her quirk began to awaken. She touched one of the rocky debris, and a few other rocky debris nearby began floating as well. The range of Uraraka's quirk was now extended. She even managed to float herself, avoiding Dabi's flames. The moment she launched the debris towards the League of Villain members, they fled. Uraraka knew that she had to go after them and find Midoriya, but also knew that she couldn't take them all on by herself. She made a tough decision and headed back to camp to get help. It was evident that Class 1A was not the only group in the Savage Lands, and things were about to get worse before they get better. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see a part 3 to this series, you'll need to leave this video a like and comment down below which MHA characters I should draw next. We could draw Bakugo, Midoriya, Dabi, Toga, or just about anybody else in the MHA world in my Savage Land style. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing to keep up to date with more story and speed paint videos like this one. If you like superhero content, then check out my S-Verse Chronicles playlist. There are a bunch of original stories and incredible art that my students in the classroom inspired. Plus, we are just about to wrap up the Gods and Champions War Saga in May, so you'll just want to catch up before we get there. Or you might be interested in watching me turn things into other things. I've got a playlist for that as well. Either way, I'll see you all next Tuesday for a regularly scheduled video where I'll be taking video game characters and venomizing them. Can't wait to see you there. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.